Well, dear people, you've heard a lot from my brother here today and from me here today about death and life after death. But you know, one of the great things about Islam as a religion, it's a religion for life. It's a religion for living your everyday life. And it really, one of the great things about Islam is that it's the way that will bring you success and real success in this life, not just the next life. And really we find that the reality is, we find ourselves in great trouble, in a terrible situation. We find ourselves here in the West in a terrible confusion. And we can see in reality that our world is crumbling around us. Now I know many of you, maybe you have children, your parents, you're getting old. I want to ask you a question now about your life, about the philosophy we have here in the Western society. What do we do here with old people? What do we do in this country with old people? We put them in the knackers yard, send them to the old age home. You're going to get old, don't believe it. You look at that woman, what's her name, Joan Collins, you think, wow, she's 62 and she looks like she's 40. And you think, I'm not going to get old. But you're going to get old. You're going to return to that time when you were like a little baby. When you're dribbling and you're drooling and you can't even go to the loo anymore by yourself. You might reach that age. And I want to ask you, how would you like to be when you're like that old? How would you like your children to be teaching you, to be treating you, to be looking after you? What do you want from them? Do you want from them to say, oh mum and dad, thanks a lot, but you go and sit in that nursing home there? And they call it a nursing home. But what are the nurses? How do they treat you? You know the reality? What's the reality? You see, what I'm trying to say is, what makes a person send their mother and their father to a nursing home? You know, I was talking to a brother from Kuwait, and he was telling me we have nursing homes now in Kuwait. I said, I don't believe it. In a Muslim land now, even the Muslims, they've gone this far, they've moved that so much towards the West, that they've given looking after their parents, because it's something unheard of, that a Muslim should send his mother or his father to another place to be looked after by other people, to leave him there to rot. Because the Quran tells us that your mother, reverence the wombs that bore you and reverence Allah. Look at that. How Allah put reverence for your mother next to reverence and worship of Him, and respect for your parents. That even if they're not Muslims, don't even say oof, don't even go ha to them when they reach an old age. Don't even go ha. This is what Islam is teaching people. Because you've got to remember, you're going to get old. And you know they have an old saying, what goes around comes around. What goes around comes around. And you know what's really sad now? You see the Muslims running after the West. They want to look like the West, be like the West, work like the West, talk like the West. And you know what's the reality? When their kids, the girls have taken off the veil, the men have shaved their beards, and they walk, they forgot their prayers, they forgot their fasting, they forgot their charity, they forgot Allah. Then those men and those mothers and those fathers, they're going to get old one day. And those children, they brought them up. They brought them up. Don't worry, don't take your religion too seriously. What you need is to have a nice time. Enjoy yourself, yeah. They'll enjoy themselves. And they'll enjoy themselves so much, when you're an old man, they'll forget you. And that's a punishment. That's a punishment from Allah to you. That's your punishment when you reach your old age. The reality, you forgot Allah, and Allah will forget you. And you'll be left there, in that hospital, in that old age home, withering away. But Islam builds a real society of living people, of caring people. It's a practical way of life. You see, I hear people come and say, oh well, why can't we women take off our clothes and look how we like? We can show our hair and, put these things and look really sexy. Why can't we do it? What's wrong with it? Men shouldn't look at us like that. They shouldn't feel lustful. It's their responsibility. You see, all you've got is some wishful thinking and mundane ideals. Islam deals with things practically. Islam tells the Muslim woman, cover yourself, cover yourself. You see, Islam doesn't say, oh Muslim woman, oh woman, you're the same as the man. When she's not. Now come on. The man is not like the woman, and the woman is not like the man. It's just whoever says it is lying. They're lying. Men and women are not the same. Women have different capabilities. They have different specialities. That's how, even according to your theory, they've evolved like that over the last God knows how many million years. Well, we say God created them like that. But even according to your ideas, to say the man is the same as the woman contradicts everything your scientists are telling you. But now what have you got? You've got wishful thinking. So you say we're the same, men and women. So now you say the women should go out to work. The women should go out to work. Now you see, in Islam, we've got a problem with that. Because our Creator, my Lord and your Lord, He says no. The women should stay in the home and look after the children. Oh my God, did you hear that? You see what this was? Women should stay in the home. And now you know what you hear now? You know what you hear now? Now it comes out. Stay in the home, chained to the sink, slave to the husband. Now it all comes out, doesn't it? Those lesbian feminists. Slave to the home, chained to the sink. What's wrong? Excuse me, lady, wait a minute. What's wrong with being a mother? What's wrong? What is so disgusting about being a mother? What's so disgusting about staying at your home and looking after your kids and educating your children? What's so bad about that? What's so bad about a woman obeying her husband and being kind to him and treating him nicely? What's so bad about that? What's so bad about it, lady?
It's a great honor to be able to have children and stay at home. Now, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, his wife worked.
Yes.
His wife didn't cover up her hair.
The what, sorry?
The Prophet Muhammad's wife, Khadija, she did not cover her hair, and she did work. She was a very good businesswoman.
Prove to me that she worked. She got business.
You know she worked.
She didn't work. She asked the Prophet Muhammad to go out and do the trade for her. She didn't used to go out trading. She got other people. And this was before Islam. Because the women then, they had nobility and they had honor and they had dignity. Yes, she had a business. Nothing wrong with a Muslim woman having a business. I didn't say Muslim women, I didn't even say Muslim women can't go out to work. And I'm all for supporting that if a woman has to go out to work, she should get equal pay and she should be treated like a human being, not like a sex object. But you know, the reality is that Islam manifests that practically. It manifests it practically. You see, here in the West, the women go, and what you see them drive through the city. Drive through the city of London any day at lunchtime. You see the women, right? Wearing skirts right up to their right up to their thing. And they're walking around in the slinkiest, kinkiest, sexy outfits, right? And then they say, we want you to be treated with respect. We want people to look at our minds, not at our bodies. Well, that's fair enough for you asking it. But why didn't you manifest it practically? Cover your body up, and then we'll have to look at your mind. You see, like the Muslim woman. When the Muslim woman goes out, she covers herself. She covers herself. She wears a loose-fitting garment. So now when she comes into contact with a man and she's working in a job, you see, she says, listen, I'm not bringing my sexuality into this. I've covered my sexuality. I'm not bringing it into the equation. Now treat me as a human being, not as a sex object. She manifests her ideals practically in the way she dresses. And what do you find? Look at society. The difference for society. You have a woman, a Muslim woman, she's proud. She's proud. Anyone go to Yemen. Any of you women here in the West go to Yemen. They look at you as dirt. They see you walking around dressed like that. They think you're the dirt, and they're proud. They feel like royalty to be a mother and to be a wife. That's how they feel, and that's how it should be. That's the way God created it. You see, so when a man came to Umar ibn al-Khattab, who was one of the second caliph, the second leaders of the Muslim, and one of the close companions and friends of Prophet Muhammad. And this man had taken his mother on his back. to be a mother and to be a wife. That's how they feel. And that's how it should be. That's the way God created it. You see, so when a man came to Umar ibn al-Khattab, who was one of the second caliph, the second leaders of the Muslims, and one of the close companions and friends of Prophet Muhammad. And this man had taken his mother on his back for 6 days in the pilgrimage, in the sweltering heat of the desert in Mecca, okay? 6 days walking to the Mount Arafah, okay? Maybe miles and miles in the desert. After all of this, making the pilgrimage, the Hajj, he came, he said, Umar, I carried my mother on the back throughout the whole of the pilgrimage. Did I pay her back now? And Umar said, you didn't pay her back for one tear she shed when she gave birth to you. That's respecting women. That's respecting women. Huh? You see, we Muslims, we respect the woman for the thing that God has created her for. Huh? And that's not to say it's not sexist. You know, men have been created for a role, and women have been created for a role. Now you can give me all your wishy-washy ideals that you like, but at the end of the day, if you send the women out to work and you get the men staying at home, you'll see what happens to your society. You see it in America right now. They're sending the women out to work. Who looks after the kids? You know who looks after the kids? The street gangs. The street gangs. There's no love in the house. There's morality. No one's teaching them morals anymore. No one's teaching them right or wrong, because they don't even know what's right or wrong. They're confused. The woman doesn't know what being a woman is, and the man doesn't know what being a man is. No one knows anything anymore. And they're confused. So the kids, they don't know what to do. They want love. They want affection. They want mummy. Where's my mummy? Huh? But there's no mummy. So what does he do? He's out on the street. So he finds his substitute mother, the gang. And they say, listen kid, you want to join our gang? You know what you have to do? You have to break this thing, smash this thing, shoot this person. 11-year-old kids shooting people so they can join a gang. And they're proud. Hey, I shot him. Huh? And you're saying now it's urban warfare. I was reading, a brother sent me an extract from the Washington Post. The guy saying, what are we even talking about sending troops to Bosnia? Send troops to Washington DC. It's open warfare here. Why? Because your family is destroyed, your society is corrupted, because you're not following the natural path anymore. You're confused about your identity. The woman isn't a woman anymore. The man isn't a man anymore. And you find that all your wishy-washy ideals, what's it doing? Destruction. You see? Because Islam deals with the reality. Because Islam is revealed by the one who knows the reality. Allah, the Creator. You see, so when you implement Islam, you find it works. And this is one of the proofs that Islam is from God. You find that the laws of Islam, you call them harsh, you call them medieval, but they produce a peaceful, successful, prosperous society when they're implemented, which we don't find today. Most countries, they don't implement Islam. And even if they do, they just implement it like Saddam Hussein. He just wants to chop people's hands off and impose his authority. So he just, imposes these so-called things out of context. But the reality is, when Islam is implemented, it works. It's practical. You see, we talked about death and paradise and the afterlife and hellfire. That's all real. And I don't want you to forget that for a minute. But I'm telling you about right here, right now. How are we going to make this world a better place? You may think the last place you'll ever think of looking is to the Quran. You think that's it's the last place I ever thought of looking. But you tell me, what's going to be the cure for this society, the consumer society? Is life and happiness in life by having lots of money and surrounding yourself with possessions and things? Is that really where happiness lies? And why do we find that 17% of the world's population are consuming 70% of its resources? 17% consuming 70% of the world's resources. You know why? It's because of a lie. It's because of a lie that you have to consume to be happy. You have to smoke this, drink that, listen to this, watch this movie, dress like this, look like Naomi Campbell, then you'll be happy. But it's a lie, people. That's not where happiness lies. That's not where happiness lies. You're not going to find happiness there. Happiness is a state of the heart. I even talked to a guy yesterday. I said, what's going to make you drinking beer? I said, why are you drinking that? He said, I want to get a bit of happiness in my life. So I said, so you're not happy? He said, yeah, that's true, I'm not happy. I said, what's going to make you happy? He said, when I go back to Africa. I said, no. You're not going to be happy when you go out. Happiness is right here. Right here. And that little piece of flesh called your heart. If it's whole, your whole body is whole. If it's corrupted, your whole body is corrupted. That little piece of flesh, your heart, that's where happiness is. Huh? And if you have it, the happiness and the peace and tranquility in your heart, nothing's going to get you down, people. But where are you going to find it? Where are you going to find it? Where are you going to get it? You can't buy it in the supermarket. You can't buy it off the shelf. You earn happiness. You earn it because it's something that God, your Lord, your Creator, He sends it down into your heart. Peace and tranquility. So you can only earn happiness by pleasing Him. Huh? And you see, that's the reality, because Islam is a practical religion that deals with practical realities of how should people live their life. I'll give you another example. Now you're besetted in the West with crime. Well, is it surprising? What do you do with your criminals? What do you do with them? You catch a criminal and you send him to prison. He sits down with a load of other guys, a load of other criminals, and they teach each other how to be better thieves. So when he comes out in society, he's perfected in the eye. If you didn't know he was ignorant before, you sure bet after he's been in prison, he's not ignorant anymore. So you pay your governments to send these people to universities. Huh? Universities. You might as well get a PhD in master criminality. Huh? You send them there and you say, oh well, this is the compassionate way. This is our Western way. You see, we're liberal and we're compassionate. But are you compassionate? Are you compassionate to the person who's been shot, the shopkeeper who got stabbed, the man who's got his house broken into, spent all his life earning things and it was all taken away? Is that compassionate? Huh? He got his money stolen. Is that compassionate? And are you being compassionate to the thief? Are you being compassionate to the thief will mean you'll stop him stealing. But you don't stop the thief stealing. You encourage him to steal more. Huh? And on top of that, the whole way your society thinks, the whole way of thinking is, listen, money, money, money. Have a car, have a TV, have the latest this, have the latest that. So people, of course, they're going to go and steal. Of course they're going to go and steal. They think happiness means surrounding yourself with lots of riches. So if they can't get it by earning it, because they can't get employed, they'll go and steal it. They don't know anything else. Huh? They don't know it now in America. You see, you call us Muslims. You see, we're defeatists. We're defeatists. Huh? We believe in God's decree. Huh? We religious people teach the poor to be patient, and therefore they don't strive. What you doing in America now? Now in America, you are deciding now that you're going to administer drugs to black people because they have a problem in their minds and it makes them violent. Huh? First you teach them that you have to have lots of money and lots of nice things in life to make you happy, and when they can't get them, what do? Give them drugs to keep them quiet. Huh? There's something wrong there. There's something wrong there. And there's a hell of a lot wrong there, people. Okay? But in Islam, you see, let me tell you Islam now. First of all, in Islam, the Quran tells you that this life is a test. This life is a test. And this world and everything in it. In fact, the Prophet Muhammad said that with a group of his companions, they passed a dead goat. A dead goat lying, rotting. You imagine with the flies and the heat and the maggots. Huh? And he said, who will buy this goat for me? For 1 dirham. 1 dirham. Huh? They said, Prophet of God, none of us would buy it for a dirham. And even if it was alive, we wouldn't buy it because it's got slits in its ears and it's deformed. So he said, by Allah, the whole world is more worthless in the sight of God than this dead goat is in your eyes. Huh? The whole world is more worthless in the sight of God than this dead goat is in your eyes. And the Quran tells you, you know what the similitude of the life of the world, the example of the life of the world? It's like the rain. It comes down from the sky, the earth absorbs it, the vegetation absorbs it, the crops grow, the sun comes down, and what do you find? Everyone delights. Look at that beautiful crop. I'm going to get the wheat now. I'm going to get my fruit now. He's delighted. But the sun comes and the sun dries it and the wind blows and scatters it. That's the life. It's just coming and going, people. But we worship it. We worship this thing, this nothing, this dust. Oh, I said it. So people, this is the reality. But now we're told that no, this life is it. This life is the most important. But Islam says no, people, the life is a test. to see whether you'll use this life. Well, if you've got money, will you use the money to give charity, to be kind to your relatives? Or will your heart be attached to it? Will your heart love it? It's a test. And if you're poor, what will you do? Run after money your whole life? Run? Or will you be content? And will you be patient and continue being grateful to God and continue worshipping God? That's the purpose of the life. But the life is short. It's 30 years, 40 years, and it's gone. Finished, and you're in your graves. So the Quran and Islam doesn't teach you to run after the world. It teaches you, hey, this world is nothing. Your peace and tranquility is in worshipping your Lord, in striving to be righteous, to be good, to be charitable, to be kind to your parents, to be good to your neighbor, to help the poor, to help the needy, to heal the sick, to help the traveler when they're on their way. And to fight and struggle and strive with your life and your money and your property to call people to that truth, that reality that will bring the real peace and tranquility in their hearts. So now imagine the Islamic society of people who are not dedicated to loving the world, to chasing after money, to chasing after the things of the world. No, are people who realize that they should be chasing after good deeds, after righteousness. And then, in this context, Islam says, if someone steals, not because they're hungry, not because they need what they're stealing, but they steal out of greed, then their hand should be chopped off. It should be removed. Oh, very brutal and barbaric, you say. But listen, what have you got? What have you got? Your prison system? Remember? The university for thieves? Do you help the thief? Do you help the innocent people? You don't. But you know, I'll tell you something. I've been to Saudi Arabia 2 or 3 times. I've seen it with my eyes. I've seen it with my eyes. And I'm not saying Saudi Arabia is a true Islamic state, but it has the laws, some of the laws of Islam. And without a doubt, Islam is very important there. And you find even on the TV, they have religious programs, a lot of religious programs, religious channels, religious radio stations. And Islam is important. Most of the people that go to the mosque, they pray 5 times a day. And there's a lot of Western influence there. But still, you know, this is a country that has its roots and still some of the laws of Islam. Now, I witnessed this with my eyes. And 40 years ago, people would say that you could go to Mecca and Medina, and when the call to prayer comes and the streets are deserted, everyone goes to pray, a man would take a cloth and cover his shop. He would just take a cloth and cover it. And this was even the gold. The gold. Can you imagine? Imagine from down there to here, all gold. Gold shops. And when the prayer, and he just takes a cloth and covers it. Can you imagine that in this country? But you see, we're talking about a way of life. The works that manifests itself practically. Yes, it's tough. Yes, it's hard. But is life just a game? Is life just a play? No, it's not, people. You see, and the reality is, okay, that we are responsible. You have to realize that you're not innocent. You're not innocent. You walk around here, go to the pub, go to the cinema. Oh, it doesn't matter. I'm living in England. It's a nice democratic society. It's all okay. You've done nothing. But every time a child is kidnapped, every time a woman is raped, every time a thief goes back into society and steals, you are going to be held account for it. Because you are following a false way of life. You are following a false ideology. And you are supporting, even tacitly, even by remaining silent, even by failing to worship Allah and follow the way He revealed to you. You see, me, I hope I'll be relieved of responsibility, at least because I come here and try and tell you people, fear Allah, worship Allah, here's the solution, here's the way. I don't accept this state of affairs. There's a better way. I hope that I have an excuse. But what's your excuse? Oh, religion, Islam, just women wearing veils. What a lot of rubbish. Primitive, barbaric. Who told you all of this? Who told you? Really, did you do your own research? Did you read the Quran? Did you read the saying of the Prophet Muhammad? Did you read the history of Islamic civilization? When we had lighting in the streets of Cordoba, lighting and baths in every street corner, and libraries in every street corner, like you have pubs, we had mosques and baths and libraries. And when you wanted to go and study, when you thought that having a bath more than once a year was an unwise thing to do, and Queen Elizabeth was considered a bit strange because she used to bath once a year, you came to our lands, the lands of the Muslims, to learn, to study, because that was the center of learning. You know what's so interesting? The Muslims have left Islam. The Muslims have left their religion. You go to Iraq, you go to Syria, you go to anywhere. You will say, okay, you'll see them going to the mosque. That's some of them. But the reality is you find in their hearts, in their lives, they've lost their religion. They've lost their religion. And the thing is, you find that when the Muslims turned away from their religion, their society and their civilization declined. But when the West turned away from Christianity, when the West turned away from its religion, that's when the West became successful. You see, in the West you equate religion with medieval, barbaric, old-fashioned. But we in the Muslim world, we equate religion with civilization, with enlightenment, with science. Because that's our past. Your past is the medieval past. Your past is when you got to found a witch, used to duck her in the thing and throw her in the pond, and if she floated up, then she was a witch. Of course she's going to float up. The poor woman's going to drown if she doesn't float up. Huh? So it's a no-win situation, right? The witch sinks to the bottom and drowns. Okay, that's okay. She wasn't a witch. It doesn't matter. Huh? You see, when your women, when you went on the Crusades, what did you put? Chastity belts on them, right? So with a poor woman, she's going to the loo and stuff. You find he came back, okay, he couldn't sleep with her anymore because she was all infected. There was nothing to sleep with anymore. Huh? Chastity belts. Huh? Your medieval ages, okay? Well, look at your medieval ages. Your feudalism, what?
What about wife? Is it better for a woman to be hidden?
I covered this already. I talked about this 15 minutes ago. So I apologize. No, listen, I can't go over everything again and again for every person who comes every 5 minutes.
Can I answer?
No, I covered it already. The next gentleman, he comes up after 10 minutes. Okay, no. Maybe someone listening today, maybe someone who listened to what I said could explain. Maybe even a non-Muslim could explain to her what I said about the veil. Huh? What I said about it. Huh? You see, people, because Islam is a practical way of life. It works. It works. You see, now when your newspapers talk, oh, this Muslims are thrown back to the Middle Ages. Yeah. For us, what you call your Dark Ages was the age of enlightenment, was the age of civilization. It wasn't Dark Ages for the Muslims, but when you were ruled by Christianity, you were living in your Dark Ages. Why? You know why? Because Christianity is a lie. And when you left the lie, you changed, you advanced. But when we Muslims, we have the truth, and the truth made us noble, and the truth made us strong, but we left the truth. And so what happened? Allah humiliated us. He humiliated us. Study, read for yourself. Go and find out for yourself and see for yourself, people. Because Islam is not just a religion of the next life, it's a religion for this life, for the here and for the now. And I know you don't like it, right? But those Muslim fundamentalists, those madmen of God, you call them, the madmen of God. What do they say it in French? How do they call it? I can't remember how it goes. The madmen of God, they call them in Algeria. The fanatics, the fundamentalists. You see, people, when the companion of the Prophet Muhammad, when he went and he was invited by the Persian general Rostam, and because the Muslims were fighting the Persians after the death of the Prophet Muhammad, the Muslims started fighting the Persians. And this Persian general, he called him and he said, why are you fighting us? If you want camels, we'll give you camels and go back to the desert. You want women and money, we'll give you it, just go back. He said, no. We've come to call the people away from the worship of men to the worship of the one true God, Allah. We've come to call them away from the injustices of man-made religions to the justice of Islam. We've come to take them out of the darkness into the light. That's why the Muslims, they fought. That's why those Muslim soldiers, in 20 years, they conquered the largest peace, the largest empire the world has seen, apart from the Mongol Empire. Morocco to China in a mere 20 to 40 years. In 40 years. And all for what? For money? For booty? No. To bring the people the light and the justice of Islam. That's the only reason. Which I have tried to explain to you and illustrate to you practically how Islam will improve your life. How Islam will improve the life of your family. It will give you the right direction. And it will tell you the reason for which you've been created and teach you how to manifest that purpose practically in your life. People, so the message of the prophets was not only to tell you that there's a hellfire, and there surely is. And it wasn't only to tell you that there's a day of judgment, and there surely is. And it wasn't only to tell you that there's a paradise, and there surely is. But it was also to teach us how to live right here, right now. So people, we say with absolute knowledge, and we believe we can prove it to you, that Islam will bring you the good success of this life and the next life. The true success of this life and the next life. So I pray to Allah, and I hope that Allah will accept my effort to call you to that success of this life and the next. And may Allah guide you and me towards it. And I say God's peace and blessings be upon you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.